Battle Through the Heavens, Episode 187. Xiao Yan refines a million soul origins, advancing to the perfect heavenly state. The premature emergence of the purifying demonic lotus flame sends Central Plains heroes into a frenzy. After Xiao Yan annihilated a branch hall of the Hall of Souls, he discovered hundreds of soul origins hidden within. These soul origins were formed from the purest energy extracted by the Hall of Souls, from the countless souls they had imprisoned over the years. If Xiao Yan could absorb these soul origins, it would undoubtedly allow his soul realm to break through to the perfect heavenly state. Yao Lao instructed Xiao Yan to condense these soul origins into luminous orbs and refine them through absorption. Xiao Yan understood clearly. If his soul realm could advance from the late heavenly state to perfect heavenly state, it would be a qualitative leap across the entire continent. Those who had reached the perfect heavenly state were exceedingly rare, a level almost touching the legendary threshold of the Emperor realm. He exhaled a strand of heavenly flame, fused with the sea heart flame, and carefully scorched the soul light orbs, beginning the refinement. Under the penetration of extreme heat, wisps of extremely faint black mist were forced out from within the orbs, the sinister soul imprints secretly planted by Hall of Souls experts. If absorbed, such impurities would bring endless future calamities. Xiao Yan thoroughly refined away these hidden dangers, causing the soul orbs to become ever more transparent and pure. Afterward, he mobilized his soul power, shaping it into a phantom humanoid, identical to himself. The soul avatar sat cross-legged before the orbs and began absorbing the vast and pure soul origin energy. Streams of pure energy continuously poured in, and as the absorption progressed, the surface of Xiao Yan's soul gradually emitted a crystal-like radiance. This was a sign that his soul power was steadily advancing toward a higher level. Fully focused, Xiao Yan absorbed the immense soul origin light orb. Exceptionally pure soul power unceasingly surged into his soul avatar. He became immersed in this wondrous sensation, as if his entire soul were wrapped in warm light, comforting like a return to the womb. Layer upon layer of crystal-like brilliance gradually covered his soul body, making it appear increasingly corporeal. The power contained within the light orb was vast like an ocean. After all, it was the essence, condensed by the Hall of Souls, over a century, extracted from millions of souls. Even Xiao Yan felt his own insignificance before such power. As the absorption continued, rings of invisible soul fluctuations spread outward with Xiao Yan at the center. Wherever these fluctuations passed, the mountains and forests fell into deathly silence. All living beings, regardless of strength, felt an irresistible pressure deep within their souls, forcing them to prostrate themselves without daring to move. Such an enormous disturbance soon alarmed the many experts of the Falling Star Pavilion. Yet when they attempted to approach the mountain where Xiao Yan was cultivating, they became dizzy and disoriented. From over 1,000 zhang away, barely able to maintain flight, and could only retreat in shock. This pure soul suppression made them deeply realize how terrifying Xiao Yan's power had become. Yao Lao, the Grand Elder of the Little Pill Tower, and others appeared in the air, gazing at the cloud-shrouded mountain with solemn expressions. Yao Lao's heart was filled with gratification. His disciples' achievements had long surpassed his own. The Grand Elder of the Little Pill Tower sighed deeply. How difficult it was to reach the perfect heavenly state of the soul. He himself had stagnated at the late heavenly state for over 100 years. Yet Xiao Yan was about to step into that realm. With the purifying demonic lotus flame about to emerge, the Hall of Souls had begun moving frequently. Honorable Feng reminded everyone to prepare in advance. Yao Lao firmly believed that Xiao Yan would emerge on time and ordered the area within 1,000 zhang of Xiao Yan's cultivation site to be sealed off. Days passed. Not only did the soul pressure permeating the star realm not weaken, it instead grew stronger. After 1 month, the entire star realm's space was saturated with this pressure. Most disciples were forced to abandon flight and could only walk on the ground, bearing a soul burden as heavy as carrying mountains. At first, there was widespread complaint, but gradually some disciples discovered that under this prolonged high-intensity soul pressure, their own soul power was being tempered and strengthened. This unexpected gain greatly benefited cultivation and filled many disciples with delight. After tasting the benefits, not only did no one complain anymore, but more and more disciples actively regarded this pressure as an excellent form of training. They consciously moved step by step toward Xiao Yan's mountain, enduring the pressure with great effort. Through this self-imposed tempering, many disciples' soul power advanced rapidly. Even more fortunately, during Xiao Yan's cultivation, traces of pure energy escaping from the soul origin drifted through the air. If a disciple happened to absorb even a wisp, it was no different from consuming a divine pill that enhanced the soul. Eventually, even some elders joined this peculiar cultivation procession. The entire star realm was swept by a wave of bitter cultivation. Yao Lao and the others could only laugh helplessly. Yet this indeed provided a rare opportunity to enhance the overall strength of the falling star pavilion. After more than 50 days, the permeating pressure began to gradually weaken. Yao Lao and the others knew Xiao Yan's cultivation was nearing its end. Atop the mountain before Xiao Yan's crystallized soul form, the once massive soul-light orb had shrunk to only half the size of a head. When this final portion of soul origin was swallowed whole by the crystal soul form, a sudden mutation erupted. An indescribably vast fluctuation exploded forth like a volcano dormant for 10,000 years, sweeping outward with Xiao Yan at the center. Dark clouds instantly gathered, lightning and thunder raged. Heaven and earth manifested phenomena born of this immense soul power. Above the main pavilion, Yao Lao and the others were utterly shaken. The Grand Elder of the Little Pill Tower concluded that based solely on Xiao Yan's current soul power, he was already capable of contending with a 2-star Dao Sheng. Yao Lao explained the profundity of the perfect heavenly state soul. At this level, the soul itself was nearly solid, extremely resilient, capable of fighting independently. When coordinated with the physical body, its power multiplied, far surpassing that of the late heavenly state. It was equivalent to possessing an additional combat partner, perfectly synchronized in will and equal in strength. At this moment, Xiao Yan felt a world-shaking transformation in his perception. With a single thought, formless soul fluctuations spread like mercury pouring over the land. Not only did they encompass the entire star realm, they even allowed him to faintly sense people's subtle emotions and hidden thoughts within range, an ability nearly akin to insight into the human heart. He pushed his soul power even farther. The fluctuations crossed the star realm and swept across thousands, tens of thousands of miles at astonishing speed. Along the way, he encountered many hidden expert souls and witnessed how the Central Plains was truly a land where dragons and tigers lay concealed. Just as he was about to retract his soul power, a sudden inexplicable heat arose deep within his soul. Following the sensation, his soul fluctuations traveled tens of thousands of miles to hover above a vast mountain range. The space there was twisted in an extremely unnatural manner, with faint milky white light seeping out. The moment Xiao Yan's soul made contact with that light, he felt intense searing pain. He was deeply shocked. Bearing 5 heavenly flames, ordinary flames should never have caused such a reaction. At the same time, the ancient, purifying, demonic lotus flame map, which had remained dormant since he obtained it, began to tremble violently within his mind. The answer was unmistakable. This was the very place where the purifying demonic lotus flame was about to emerge into the world. As Xiao Yan was still shaken by the discovery of the purifying demonic lotus flame's place of emergence, a vast soul power no weaker than his own suddenly erupted from deep within that distorted space, slamming heavily into his spreading soul fluctuations. This sudden, unheralded attack caused Xiao Yan's soul body to tremble violently, and an intense wave of dizziness surged over him. Xiao Yan immediately transmitted his voice through his soul, sternly demanding the attacker's identity. To be able to injure his soul, the intruder's soul realm had clearly also reached the perfect heavenly state. A voice utterly devoid of emotional fluctuation slowly echoed from the void. It did not answer Xiao Yan's question. Instead, in an indifferent tone, it precisely identified Xiao Yan's identity and actions, accusing him of devouring the soul origins of the human hall, and remarking that his repeated acts of thwarting the Hall of Souls bore a striking resemblance to the style of Xiao Xuan of the Xiao clan in years past. This judgment caused Xiao Yan's soul to surge violently. Within the Hall of Souls, among those capable of cultivating their soul to such a level, only one figure came to his mind: the Hall Master of the Hall of Souls, the one forever shrouded in mystery. The emotionless voice continued, stating that it had originally planned to act only after the purifying demonic lotus flame emerged. But since Xiao Yan had proactively probed this place, it would make its move in advance and capture him back to the Hall of Souls. A chilling intent seeped from the voice's displeasure at Xiao Yan's unauthorized consumption of the Hall of Souls. Collections. As the words fell, Xiao Yan felt the surrounding space instantly solidify, and even the circulation of his soul power became extremely difficult. A cold evaluation echoed through the void. commenting on the disparity between Xiao Yan's soul strength and his true physical cultivation. Immediately afterward, a colossal dark energy hand, vast enough to blot out the heavens, condensed in mid-air. Carrying terrifying pressure, it reached straight toward the location of Xiao Yan's soul. At this critical moment, another aged voice sounded calmly. Its words carried clear disapproval toward the Hallmaster's act of bullying the weak with overwhelming strength. At the same time, an equally gigantic energy palm appeared out of thin air and collided head-on with the dark giant hand. Boom! The clash of two supreme soul powers triggered a terrifying storm, instantly shattering the spatial confinement. A cold shout rang out from the void, the Hallmaster of the Hall of Souls Hun Mi Sheng, accusing the intervening elder of also coveting the purifying demonic lotus flame. The aged voice replied calmly, stating that his sole purpose was to prevent the purifying demonic lotus flame from falling into the hands of the Hall of Souls. Then the aged voice sounded directly within Xiao Yan's mind. Leave immediately. Xiao Yan instantly felt a gentle yet irresistible force wrap around his soul. In the next instant, his soul streaked like a beam of light across tens of thousands of miles, rapidly returning to his physical body. The moment his consciousness fully returned, Xiao Yan realized his back was already drenched in cold sweat. Meanwhile, on a vast plain, tens of thousands of miles away, a cowherd riding a green ox, appearing no more than 10 years old, slowly raised his head and gazed toward the distant northwest. Within his clear eyes, there lay a profound world-weariness that seemed to have seen through all mortal affairs. The cowherd let out a sigh utterly mismatched with his youthful appearance, a sigh heavy with the passage of ages. He foretold that the emergence of the purifying demonic lotus flame would inevitably trigger a world-shaking struggle. Lightly flicking the ox whip in his hand, he urged the green ox forward, slowly fading into the distance until he vanished at the end of the plain. This ox-riding cowherd was none other than the Pill Tower ancestor. This unexpected encounter with the Hall of Souls' enigmatic master had subjected Xiao Yan to tremendous pressure from merely a soul-level contact, leaving him drenched in cold sweat. Though Xiao Yan had confidence in his soul power, the Hallmaster's cold assessment made it clear that there existed an enormous gap in their true cultivation levels. Had it not been for the sudden intervention of that mysterious powerhouse, Xiao Yan's soul might not have returned safely. This encounter deeply impressed upon him just how many hidden dragons and crouching tigers lurked within the central plains. Even a perfect heavenly state soul was fraught with danger when roaming freely. After returning to reality, Xiao Yan's thoughts were far from calm. Judging by the Hallmaster's strength, he was likely even stronger than their own strongest ally, Ziyan. At the same time, the identity of the mysterious expert who aided him left Xiao Yan deeply puzzled. He did not know such a figure, so why had the man intervened? Someone capable of making even the Hallmaster of the Hall of Souls wary was exceedingly rare across the entire continent. Xiao Yan felt that if he could uncover this person's identity, they might become a powerful ally against the Hall of Souls. He then recalled another crucial discovery made during his soul's voyage. In the northwestern direction, within a region of extremely unstable spatial structure, the legendary purifying demonic lotus flame was sealed, and it was on the verge of breaking free. However, both the Hallmaster of the Hall of Souls and that mysterious powerhouse were clearly already aware of this and guarding the area. This meant that the continent's top-tier forces were all focused on that location. A sense of urgency rose within Xiao Yan. He understood that there was still a considerable gap between himself and the Hallmaster. To make up for it, or even surpass him, successfully subduing the purifying demonic lotus flame was the only possible path. Only by obtaining this heaven-defying flame could his power undergo a qualitative transformation, allowing him to fear neither the Hallmaster nor the even more terrifying Hun clan in the future. With that thought, his resolve to seize the purifying demonic lotus flame became unshakable. At this moment, the strange light orb in his mind, formed from fragments of an ancient remnant map, began to fluctuate once more. Whenever he approached or thought of the purifying demonic lotus flame, this orb became unusually active. Yet even with his current soul power, he was still unable to probe its inner mysteries. He suspected that this object was closely related to the purifying demonic lotus saint and would likely play a crucial role in subduing the flame. As for its true nature, it remained unknown. After adjusting his state, Xiao Yan activated his soul power and condensed beside himself a soul clone identical to him, possessing formidable strength. This astonishing scene immediately drew the attention of his companions. Yao Lao and the others appeared one after another, all astonished at the sight of two Xiao Yans. Yao Lao explained that this was precisely the profundity of a perfect heavenly state soul, the clone and the true body complemented each other, resulting in terrifying combat power. Xiao Yan reabsorbed the clone and informed everyone of two critical matters. First, he had confirmed the exact location of the purifying demonic lotus flame's emergence. Second, he had briefly come into contact with the Hall Master of the Hall of Souls during his soul exploration. Upon hearing those words, everyone's expressions grew solemn. Yao Lao analyzed that the Hall of Souls was indeed determined to obtain the flame and had clearly laid out its plans long ago. As for the mysterious expert, though his origins were unknown since he had offered assistance, he was likely a friend rather than a foe. Yao Lao comforted Xiao Yan, telling him not to overly fear the Hallmaster. The emergence of the flame would inevitably draw the intervention of various ancient clans, and naturally there would be powerhouses of the same level to restrain him. Their alliance's objective should be to seize the flame itself when the opportunity arose. Afterward, Yao Lao solemnly handed Xiao Yan a jade bottle. Inside lay a pill, the result of 2 months of effort by Yao Lao and the Grand Elder. A 9th-grade mysterious pill, the 9-yin yellow spring pill. The pill radiated extreme cold, causing frost to condense in the surrounding air. This was a key item prepared specifically for subduing the purifying demonic lotus flame. Xiao Yan accepted the pill with gratitude. Yao Lao reminded him that the purifying demonic lotus flame was extraordinarily dangerous throughout history. No one had ever truly subdued it. He must give everything he had and also be prepared to face failure. Xiao Yan nodded silently, his resolve unwavering. In the following days, the Alliance dispatched scouts to investigate the target region while waiting. Beneath the surface, the central plain surged with undercurrents. Countless hidden forces turned their gaze toward that location. 4 days later, Xiao Yan abruptly opened his eyes in meditation. In the night sky, 2 crescent moons appeared together and 9 stars aligned as one. The heavenly phenomenon foretold by the ancient map had finally appeared. Twin moons in the sky, 9 stars as one, the demonic flame descends. In an instant, heaven and earth's energy erupted violently. Strange mist filled the air, and a blinding light burst forth from the northwestern night sky. A terrifying wave of heat swept across the land. Even at the falling star pavilion, the scorching sensation was impossible to ignore. The light orb in Xiao Yan's mind trembled violently once more. He forcefully suppressed it. The purifying demonic lotus flame has broken its seal ahead of time. There was no time to waste. Xiao Yan immediately decided to depart. Yao Lao had already assembled the Alliance's elite forces and allies. Xiao Yan emphasized to everyone the extreme danger of this mission, stressing that survival came first. Then he transformed into a streak of light and shot forward. A vast host of experts followed closely behind, charging mightily toward the northwest. That night, figures streaked across the skies throughout the central plains, the sound of rushing wind unceasing. All of them shared a single destination, the land where the purifying demonic lotus flame was about to emerge.